Hi friends, and welcome back. I am so excited to be getting into another book review with you. And of course, we are sticking with the theme here and going with a romance book to review. So our book for today is going to be Love on the Brain by Ali Hazelwood. Now, for a little bit of background about Ali Hazelwood is that she is kind of referred to as the STEMinist queen. And what that's referring to is STEM, which is science, technology, engineering, and mathematics. And typically it is a very male-dominated field, but it seems like Ali Hazelwood has made it her mission to kind of rewrite the narrative and write about women in this field finding romantic relationships and just kind of dealing with the experiences that women in this field go through while doing that in a light and funny way for readers. I really love that she has made this her mission. So with that being said, this is another book with a STEM setting and is an opposites attract workplace romance. The love hypothesis follows our main character B, who is a neuroscientist and was just offered a new position as a co-lead on a project for NASA, and that project is called Blink. And it is such a large project that they need to bring someone else in to help their staff with this project, and that is why she's going to be a co-lead on the project. And she's really thinking about this project and what it would mean for her career and decides that she needs to do this. She's kind of looking for that big break in her career, and she has a misogynistic boss that she doesn't really enjoy working for. So it just seems like really good timing for her to move to a new city, get some new experience, and do something different with her career. Now, of course, we all know that the perfect situation is not going to be as perfect as it initially seems for our character. So as we continue reading, B finds out that the person she is going to be co-leading the project with is her college enemy, Levi Ward. Now B is trying to decide if this project is worth it because she really doesn't want to have to work with him. And we start to understand why she feels so strongly about Levi. And it's because in college, he was very clear to everyone else and to her about how much he couldn't stand her. He made fun of her and called her unprofessional for having pink hair and for just wearing some eccentric to him clothing. And he just really made her feel like she wasn't smart enough to be part of the program. So now she's trying to decide if it's even worth doing this because she doesn't want to work with someone like that. Well, B decides that she needs this and her career needs this, and his issues with her in college can just be left in college. They are adults, they are in the professional world, and they have a life-changing project to work on, and she is going to do that. So she continues, she moves to a new city and is so excited to get started on this project. Now again, we know that it's not going to go as smoothly as B thinks. So B makes it to NASA and starts trying to get settled in on her project. This building that she's working in is Levi's home base in a sense. So this is where he works, where he has worked for years, where his team works. So she is coming into his space. And so he's kind of in charge of getting her the equipment that she needs and access to different parts of the building that she needs. And she's realizing that he's not doing any of those things. And so like I said, she can't access parts of the building that she needs to get to. Her equipment isn't there weeks into the project. She finds out that her equipment has actually been completely canceled. So she's trying to figure out why he is still so against her, and especially when they're supposed to be working on this project together. Now things start to get a little bit more interesting as the story and the project progress. And B starts to feel like maybe she was misinterpreting Levi's actions and words and almost thinks that she feels like he's supporting her without really supporting her. But if he is, and if she's been wrong, where is her equipment and why is she having trouble accessing the building? Now, I am not going to share any more about the plot with you because I do not want to ruin it and I really want to encourage you to read this book. But there are some other really fun things about this plot and the characters that I want to share with you. A cute and super fun addition to Bee's character and to this plot was that Bee would base a lot of her really major decisions on one question. And that question is, what would Marie do? And she is referring to Marie Curie, who I was not familiar with going into this book, but turns out to be kind of a boss babe of science and really made some significant scientific discoveries through her career and shaped the way for a lot of what people are doing today with cancer research and just in a lot of scientific things. So that is so fun, and I love the way that she could be honored and represented in this plot. Another really fun thing, which is so silly, but is important to me, was that there was a character in the book, and her name was Kaylee. Now, it was spelled differently, but I don't think I have ever come across a character Kaylee in any of the books that I have read, so I instantly connected with this book, and I loved it. If you are a person who has a name that isn't super typical or maybe is spelled a different way, you may resonate with this because I am a person who doesn't get to go into a gift shop and find my name spelled on things. It's always spelled differently. So just to even see the name Kaylee in this book, although it was spelled different, it was pretty close. It's just so fun. I know it's silly. I told you it was, but I absolutely loved it. Now that you know some of the silly things that I wanted to share about this book, let's dive into my thoughts. Something that I really enjoyed about this book was I actually feel like I took some knowledge away after reading this book. Now keep in mind, it is a fictional book, but there were some words and phrases and significant science figures that I learned about through reading this book. And to gain knowledge from a fictional book is such a win to me. I also really adored the characters in this book. They were cute and funny and just really well written. They actually had horrible communication skills in this book, but it made for such a good plot. We also had some incredible supporting characters in this book. So not only did I love the main characters, I loved all of the other characters that were in this book as well. There were quite a few characters referred to throughout the book, but they all played a purpose in this book, which I really enjoyed. Every person or every character discussed played a role in the larger plot. They weren't just brought up for the sake of being brought up, and I really liked the connection with characters we've read about all serving a purpose in the ending of the book. Another thing that I really loved about this book and about Ali Hazelwood's books in general is that she touches on topics that need to be discussed. So in this book, we're touching on sexism, gender stereotyping, trauma that comes from toxic relationships, and not only is she bringing these topics up, but she is giving her characters the tools and strength that they need to overcome those situations, and I support it. It really makes it feel connected to now and what society is discussing now. And I love how relevant Ali Hazelwood's books feel, at least to me, and appreciate the way that she brings these topics up. A really great example that just came to me about how this book just feels relevant and with the current times is that if you remember when I said that Bee asks herself a question of what would Marie do, she also has a Twitter page and she uses it as a what would Marie do suggestion page. So on this account, other women in STEM interact with her. Although they don't know it's B, it just says, "What would Marie do?" So it's kind of an anonymous page where she shares sarcastic comments about coworkers. She provides also some encouraging posts to women in STEM, and they also interact about questions and situations that they're dealing with. She also creates a movement in the book through this Twitter page and just brings a sense of community to women in STEM. I think this was such a fun inclusion to Bee's character and to the book, and it feels very relevant to the generation and times that we're in. Now, let's get into my final thoughts on this book. So I'm sure that you can already tell, but I really loved this book. I enjoyed the characters, and I really loved the writing and the plot. I loved the topics that were discussed and the representation of women in STEM. I also loved that while Bee is brilliant and beautiful and great at what she does, she's also very relatable to women. She deals with insecurities, the mental block that comes in when she's nervous, and just the issues that I think everyone can experience when trying to communicate things. It made her a very fun and easily relatable character. Now, if you are wondering if this book has a cheesy plot, a little. But I think that that's the point. I think that that's how all contemporary romances are, and I think that that's why readers pick these books up. You're not really expecting it to be shocking. It's exactly what it's intended to be, and these books have their place and their purpose. I would highly recommend this book to anyone who enjoys Ali Hazelwood books and anyone who enjoys romance books. I also really wanted to bring up that if you have read this book and you're not reading some of her others, or vice versa, because you're worried about the plots being too similar, just know that her books are different. So while they do contain similar aspects like a STEM setting, the plots in each of her books, in my experience, have been different enough to still be really enjoyable. And while we are on the topic of Ali Hazelwood's books, I wanted to mention that she does have another book coming out in the summer. I want to say it comes out in June, and I am so excited to read it. So far, I have read Love on the Brain and The Love Hypothesis, and I adored both of them. Don't you worry, I am also going to have a review coming for The Love Hypothesis, but I cannot wait. I want to say the new book's title is Love Theoretically. So be on the lookout for that if you enjoy her books, because I am so ready to read it. So now that you know my thoughts, I'm super curious to know what you think. If you have read this book, what were your thoughts? And what are your thoughts compared to some of her others, like The Love Hypothesis? I really love to hear what you guys think of these books and just interact about some of the books that we're both reading. Also, please let me know if there are any books that you would like for me to read and review for you. I would be more than happy to do that. I'm always looking for book suggestions, and realistically, if you ask me to do it, I am going to do it. So if there's something you want me to review for you, let me know and I will get on that. And if you have enjoyed this video, please remember to give it a like and also subscribe. I have a bunch of romance book recommendations coming for you this month that I would hate for you to miss, and I have a bunch more books in general to read and review for you. As always, I really appreciate your support, and I will see you all in the next video. Bye!